I said, I say, they say, who should be in your database? I said, if you have their name and their email address, they should be in your database. You have to have at least their email address, I'd say. Ideally, you want your email address, cell phone, and mailing address. Um, and the way to get started on that, especially this is for like newer agents, or sometimes I run into experienced agents that have not done this yet. But you export all of your contacts from your smartphone into a CSV that's comma separated value file. It's very easy to do. And then you choose a CRM. EXP has three different choices for CRM, so do your due diligence there, decide which one's best for you. Um, and then upload them, to upload the CS file to the CRM. And then this takes some time and it's an ongoing thing, but organizing your database on the CRM is extremely important and it does take time. Um, you know, most things that I read about say you should be spending 3 to 5 hours per week expanding or reorganizing your database. I'm guilty of not doing this and I need to do more of it. Um, I know Ninja Selling and other sources have said per individual in your database, you should be gaining a gross commissions earned of $1,000 per individual in your database. And it actually holds true because I have about 10,000 people in my database right now, and my goal for GCI is around 1, 2 to 1, 3. So it's like I'm a little higher than that, like 12 or 1,300 per individual. But like that should be your what tracks it. And if you're engaged with your database, that's what you should be getting in return. So just some things to keep in mind along the way. And then obviously regularly communicate with the database directly and automatically. We'll get into that. Um, to your message, take some time to think about yourself and how you would like to approach your database. Summarize that approach into a mission statement and slogan. This will become part of your brand as you move forward. The things that I've used over the years, a long time ago, I had referrals through performance. I took a Buffini class. I don't know if anyone here has taken Buffini or not, but the 100 Days of Greatness. And that was kind of born out of that referrals through performance. Um, and then went award-winning client first, and then right now it's your goal is my mission. You're kind of like that direct, like, what can I do for you kind of a thing. But if, I don't care. You guys can use all three of these if you want. Doesn't matter to me. But you should be something that feels like it's good for you. This should be personal to you. And then deliver your message to your database with sincerity and intent. Um, and then four videos are very important, if not completely necessary in today's world. Um, Make a goal of creating at least one video per week. And then I pulled 5 rules online at the end of this outline. I went through them and adjusted them a little bit. I am guilty of not doing this as well. So there's some things on here that I need to do a better job of. I'm so glad I am doing this course because it's going to help me sharpen my saw, certainly. But I am recommitting to videos this year. I want all of you to hold me accountable to that. I'm going to do at least one video per week. Um, and then I break it down into daily tasks. Okay. So day one, create your database with the details above. Past clients, leads, SOI, aim for at least 100 to 200 names initially. So this goes back to goals, right? Like how much income do you want to earn? Do you want to, if you want to make $500,000 a year, then your goal to be should be 500 names in your, what is that? Yeah, 500 names in your database, I guess. No, I don't know, somewhere around there. You know what I'm talking about. I guess I should be making more than that, right? So I don't know. We'll figure it out along the way. But you should go 500 or 1,000 or just, however big your database is should feed into it. So I guess I'm underachieving. If I have 10,000 people in my database, I'm not doing that math right. Someone help me out there. I'm way underachieving. So I need to do a lot of work on my database. Yeah, that would be $10 million a year. I'm not even close to that, I promise you. So Obviously, these are ninja rules and nothing's hard and fast, but you'll get, I think you'll gather something out of this along the way anyway. Um, cell phone numbers and email addresses. This might be a good reason to reach out to someone you haven't connected with in a while. If your database is already created, then spend 1 or 2 hours on Monday improving it and working on it. And that'll set the stage, by the way, when you're looking for people to call or reach out to. The brain can only process so much information at one given time. So as you go through your database, it's kind of like a brainstorming exercise too. You'll start to think of people and be like, oh my, I know this happens to everyone on this call probably, but you'll start to think, oh my gosh, I haven't reached out to that person in a while. Or, and it could be an old friend, it could be a relative, it could be a client you haven't talked to in 5 years. And, these are the people you need to be engaged with so that they can know that you're still in business and that you can still be in touch with them on a personal and business level. So, um, personal notes are huge. Another area where I try to do this, but I fall short, by writing two personal notes to anyone you visited over the past weekend, this being Monday. Um, Day two, call 10 members of your SOI. Now, I have talked to many top producing agents that make 20 calls or more to their SOI. I've talked to other salespeople in other industries that make 50 calls a day, sometimes cold callers. I talked to one sales guy who's in the insurance arm, and he said, all I do is get punched in the face all day. And then one call goes through, but I'll make 50 or 60 calls to make that happen. I told him, you'll be a millionaire if you get your real estate license and you do that. I mean, imagine the fortitude and the wherewithal to get through that many phone calls just with rejection after rejection. I know I can't do that. That's not in my DNA. I'm more of a referral sphere of influence type of person. That's where this is directed. Um, but you're reaching out to people. You want to talk about the Ford questions, talk about them, ask them questions about themselves. Every salesperson wants to talk about everything they're doing and how successful they are and all the things they can do for their clients. But if you gear the conversation towards the individual you're talking to and ask about their family and their occupation and their recreation and their dreams, which is what their plans are in the future. Um, the bond and rapport you're going to have with that person is going to be much longer lasting. It's going to be a deeper groove that you set. Um, this is just how the brain works in people. And then schedule face-to-face meetings. Face-to-face counts, these are real statistics. The close rate for in-person meetings is 40% versus 16% without. That's a 150% differential. So coffees, lunches, face-to-face meetings, very, very important. Nearly 100% of people say face-to-face meetings are essential for long-term business relationships. That's huge. Um, 72% of people say their impressions are impacted by how someone appears and their handshake. So make sure you go in with a firm handshake. Don't go in soft. Don't just give them the tips of your fingers. That's weird. People don't like that. And then follow up with personal notes. Um, yeah, my goal is two personal notes a day. Again, something that I fall short on, but I'm going to work on this. And this is a really good exercise for me. Um, Writing personal notes to follow up with face-to-face meetings or phone calls is extremely effective. Most top producers in our industry do this on a regular basis. Um, and then I would say join two local networking groups um, on that day too. Um, I'm going to put in here, this is two networking groups in my mind is plenty to be a part of. You don't have to do that every week. So join two local networking groups and keep it at that. Um, you'll see why I'm saying that when we get to the end here. Day three, again, call 10 members of your sphere of influence slash database, check in on their current situation by asking forward questions, share useful market updates, the locally neighborhood updates, and schedule face-to-face meetings. You want to keep scheduling these face-to-face meetings. You want to be engaged. Coffees, Popeyes, lunches. And then on that day three, make one video using the five rules that are listed below. So this is kind of a rinse and repeat here. You want to keep doing this consistently. Ninja Selling says work on your business in the morning and in your business in the afternoon. So these things can all be done like before noon, and then all of your appointments, showings, lunches, whatever the case may be, can happen in the afternoon. Again, rinse and repeat, call 10 members. If you do this consistently, your business will accelerate. And then also day five, Friday, sharpen your saw, schedule time for self-development, studying different marketplaces, study your own marketplace if you haven't in a while. Listen to podcasts, read chapter from your book. I know when I'm driving around, I'm constantly listening to Seven Habits or Ninja Selling or anything that can get my mind reminding me of what I need to be doing on a daily basis to keep my successful endeavors moving forward. And then day six, Saturday, organize casual meetup coffee, local business owner or past client to strengthen your network, and then visit two members of your sphere of influence. So these are appointments that you've scheduled throughout the week that then you're following through on Saturday. And then say Sunday rest. I like to take Sundays off. I go to church, I watch football, I spend time with my family, and that's my day. Now, there are already always emergencies and urgent things that come up, especially in contractual situations that you need to deal with. But yeah, these are the if you follow this daily system through the week, you will over time, and I've seen it happen to agents that are new. I've seen it happen to agents where their businesses are flagging and they start to engage in some form of what I'm outlining here. And within a couple months, they have closing set up. They have listing appointments set up. They have buyers that they're working with. They're showing how like it will like if you're slow or if things are getting quiet, or if you have an agent you're working with, maybe an agent on your team that is new or kind of slow, introduce them to this system. And I've never been one to follow any kind of system perfectly or like I'm more of gleaning of information and then I use that information to how my business works, how I am and how I am personally. So not everyone's built differently. Um, Certainly follow this to the T if you want to. But Oh, Christine Dunn, these videos to be emailed to you, Donnie? We'll get to that in the video section underneath. How can we get the PowerPoint of the daily task? I will, I mean, Kristen can email this out to everyone, I guess, or I can email it out. Um, anyway, these tasks will, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone, like I said, has been struggling and slow, and they start to do all of these things, and then all of a sudden it snowballs. But the trick is there's only two components to real estate. There's initiating new business and facilitating the business you have, right? And what happens with a lot of agents, and it happens to me too, is you'll spend time initiating, especially in that, the fourth quarter and the beginning of the first quarter, and then you'll get so busy with showings and listing appointments and the spring market's coming up that your initiation will wither, you know, your initiation, all of these things that you're doing will start to slow and you'll go down to like two calls a day or five calls a day or, and then all of a sudden you'll start your facilitation will, all these closings will happen and then it'll start to flag and kind of go to the wayside. So it is very, very, very important to spend time every day. Ninja Selling says, 10 to noon, like the best hour of your day to me, that's 10 to noon. After coffee, after I've done all my morning routines and all that, usually after I've exercised and all those things are out of the way, and I can sit down and really focus on the most important part of my business, which is prospecting for more business. Okay. There's obviously showings, contracts, all that stuff, because that's how our money's made. But if you're not constantly initiating new business, at some point in time, you will get into a slow doldrum that could last for months if you're not careful. I remember years ago, my brother-in-law got married out west. And we went out there. He got married in August, and we were out there for the almost the entire month of August. I was the best man. My wife was involved. It was crazy. It was like this big thing. And I literally saw a slump in my business from like October, November, like, and I know that that's a usual slowdown cyclically, but I could see that my month of not doing what I was doing every day like affected my year in a way that was unusual. It was an unusually slow period, and it was frustrating for me. Um, but you can see like it was just a good example of how important all of these activities are. Um, some things to keep in mind along the way. These are just some adages, some things I've incorporated, but work like a hunter and think like a farmer. Um, you know, we're working like a hunter. In other words, like actively, proactively going out, making calls, doing all these things, very, very action oriented. But really, all of those actions are planting seeds, right? Once in a while, we get lucky and a buyer's like, hey, I'm ready to buy right away. Or a seller's like, I have to list next week and we got to sell real quick. Like those things happen from time to time. But typically, the seeds you're planting now are going to pay dividends 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, maybe years down the road. I mean, I do a lot of land development and those are like 5 years down the road, sometimes 6 years down the road. So it like you think for the long game, but work like a hunter, and things will start to stack and your closings will become more regular. Real estate is a contact sport. If you're not out engaged in your community, if you're not talking to people every day, if you're not reaching out, you're just not going to be doing as much business as you possibly could do. Be engaged, not just on social media, but face to face, coffees, lunches, networking events. Um, you know, no one doesn't no one dislikes a networking event more than me until I'm at one and I'm like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be, right? It's like getting there is the hardest thing. But once you're there, it's kind of easy. All of us, if we're in sales, we know how to talk to people, and that always leads to other things. But the only thing constant is change. The market's going to change. The interest rates are going to change. Number of transactions in your area are going to change. The stock market's going to go up and down. But what you can do consistently is every day keep growing your business. And if you do that consistently, the other changes won't matter as much, and being aware of them, like for instance, however you feel politically, and it doesn't matter to me how my clients feel politically. What matters is I understand politics and I understand how it affects their decision-making process. And it gives me the ability, understanding how politics works and how the economy works and functions, gives me the ability to advise my clients in the right way. Okay, does that make sense? So knowing that information advises your client. So look at it clinically and take all your personal feelings out of the game as far as that's concerned. Um, AI is a valuable tool. Learn how to use it. I used it to help me create this outline. I would say this is 20% AI, 80% me, this outline. If that makes sense. It's a very, very valuable thing in this world, and it's getting more and more valuable as we move along. Um, Words are worth nothing without action. I mean, this is all day long on a bag of chips, right? So initiate, follow up, follow through, keep in touch. That was on my first whiteboard I ever had in my career. Initiate, follow up, follow through, keep in touch. And it was just me by myself. And I had it in a little circle and I was just like, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going, you know? Time blocking is useful. Learn it. I know Dave talked about this last time. That's what this is. Like, in ninja selling, it talks about working on your business in the mornings and in your business in the afternoon, or one. I don't know. Lars probably knows it better than I do, but it's one of those things where you're in the office, you're plugging away, you're sharpening, you're getting everything together, and then you're going on to your appointments and you're doing everything and making sure that you're organized in a way. And it's not a perfect world. Sometimes you have to bend it to your clients' schedules and everything else. But try to keep as consistent as you possibly can. Here's some books I recommend. I'm sure most of you have read some of these. Seven Habits, Ninja Selling, The Go-Giver is a good one. And then The Hobbit, There and Back Again by Bobo Baggins, really written by J.R.R. Tolkien, but also read stuff that you find entertaining is my point there. Don't just read stuff that's work related. That was like me being funny right there. I don't know if anybody. Anyway, um, here's the 5 rules for creating effective videos. I actually did use Art AI to create this, but then I went in and adjusted it a little bit. But there's some useful things here. Um, but to Christine Dunn's question, if you go down to where is it? Distributing strategically, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you know, that's where you should be posting. Um, and then I don't know about emailing videos. Does anyone else know anything about emailing videos? I feel like that might get stuck if you try to email videos, but I don't know. I guess you could try, but
It depends. Dan, with videos, I have had great success emailing videos actually. If
okay.
anybody is interested in doing that. I use BombBomb to do it though, because then I can one track if they open. Two, you can also use it to send videos to text messages as well if somebody doesn't have an iPhone and they'll still be nice and clear. And it pops up when you use BombBomb, it pops up as an actual video with your face. So if you're sending it to people that you already know and you're just like connecting or touching base, then they get to see you physically, which is to your
Yeah,
point,
that's
instead of
awesome.
just sending a text or an email. So if you don't have BombBomb, you can also send it. You can upload everything to YouTube and send it as a link from YouTube, but then it's not popping up necessarily as a video of you. And a lot of people are kind of weary, even in 2026, of clicking links in emails,
Sure.
rightfully so.
No, that's cool. And I have heard of BombBomb before, but I've never used it. So that's interesting. I'm going to look into that. Videos is definitely something that I'm really going to focus on that this year. Um, my Annie Moretti, who handles my marketing, Annie O'Donnell, I should say. Um, she's really on like been pushing me for that for a while, and I've been kind of like limping along here and there, throwing something out. And it's just not, if you're not doing it consistently, it's not even worthwhile doing. You really have to, yeah. But I thought all of these 5 things here and how it breaks it down, I thought it did it nicely as I pulled it up. I edited it a little bit. Um, you know, editing is big, editing matters. Like, this is a weakness of mine. But it gives you some like software here, like iMovie, Adobe Premiere Pro. I don't know if anybody's familiar with these things or if anybody else has any suggestions. Um, to upload it to your YouTube. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Kristen backed up the upload it to YouTube first. And then you send a link out so people can link into YouTube, which seems like, and then I know you can create, Annie actually created a YouTube channel for me. So you should be creating your own YouTube channel. I think you can do that for free. And then try to draw people into it. I think people have to look at advertisements though when they look at your videos. So you better have really good content if someone's going to look at an advertisement before they see it. So whereas Christine is Bomb Bomb, they wouldn't have an advertisement, right? Is that true? No, I don't know if Christine's still there or not, but anyway, the trick here is the daily routine. Now we're coming up on 9:30. I'm keeping it to 30 minutes here, so I'm not taking up too much time of everybody's day. There's so much to lead generation, but I thought this was a good daily, hey, this is if you do this every day and you're consistent with it and you're consistent with meeting and your messaging and keeping things, you will your business will flourish. I mean, and if you have a young agent or a struggling agent and you put them on this path, in my experience, it is extremely effective. Um, yeah, no commercials with Bomb Bomb. Christine Dunn just posted. So I'm going to look into that and see what's going on there. Um, but in any case, I'm sure Kristen Knorr will send this out to everyone. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can email me anytime you want or text me. Um, I'm pretty accessible human being. I might not get back to you right away, but I'll definitely get back to you within the same day. Um, I mean, unless it's after like 6, I guess, then I might not get back to you till tomorrow. But in any case, yeah, I think another point too, like the sincerity here is a big deal to me. Um, when I have buyers looking for houses in certain markets, we have a strategic neighborhood letter we use, which I can send out a sample of that to people too. If you have buyers looking at certain neighborhoods and in this we're still in a low inventory market in our marketplace. Um, and if you sending out those letters can turn into a lot of different transactions. Um, because you might find a house that's not on the market yet, but it's not the right fit for your buyer. But all of a sudden you're talking to a seller and that seller becomes a seller and then also a buyer and it can lead to other things. And I've had a lot of success with that over the years. So, but in any case, does anybody else have any other questions or input here? Or did I miss anything important that anybody can add?
Daniel.
Yes, Rich.
Um, one of the things that you had said was even when you're busy, make sure you make your calls.
Yeah.
And I've always heard, and it works for me, is that when you are the busiest, you're in the best mood because things are going well. So if you make those calls, you're in a good mood and you come across, like you're happy and you're ready to go. So that's
Yeah, and
something I always keep in mind.
you also have something to talk about.
Exactly right.
Right? Because you're engaged in the marketplace, things are happening. You can point to real things that are happening in the market and that you're dealing with. So like it becomes across as more authentic that way too. It's one thing to say, this is what we're seeing in the marketplace. It's another thing to say, well, I'm working with this client over here and XYZ is happening without, obviously holding your confidentiality. Uh, you know, that's a fiduciary responsibility we have, obviously, but to keep it confidential. But yeah, make your calls non-negotiable to make your calls. And texting counts, okay, for the calls, as long as it leads to a call or a face-to-face. Because the whole point is to get face-to-face with people. Remember, the face-to-face is huge right here. I mean, you're looking at 150% differential. Once you meet someone, that's how much more likely they're going to work with you. That's a no-brainer, you know? I mean, coffees, and then yeah, listen, there's going to be an expense involved. I mean, coffee is peanuts, but you might have to buy someone, you can buy lunch here and there. In my experience, that's usually a crapshoot. I mean, I don't care buying someone lunch at this point, but earlier in my career, it was something that, I was more concerned about than I am now, certainly. Um, you know, Anybody else have anything to add? Rich, that was a good point. All right. Well, 30 minutes are up. Kristen Kennord, I did it. Right?
Dan,
This was awesome,
I
Dan. Thank
used
you.
Karush. Or
I used the end of year actually opportunity when we got together with a lot of people, and I used it. I even had a raffle. I bought like some really nice gifts, and I put them, and we had a raffle to just like distribute to people, and as a thank you for the ones who were going to do some referrals to me, and for the ones who were in my database. So I used that opportunity. I got in contact face to face, one on one with a lot of people. And I'm happy that I didn't get sick.
right. Well, that's a good point. And I have client appreciation events. Like last year, I threw a big one. I mean, it was probably a $12,000 event, but I closed 3 deals this year because out of that event. I probably earned $40,000 in commission out of that event. Like, so it's like, oh my gosh, that's expensive. Yeah, but if you're not walking out of there with a handful of deals in your pocket, you're not throwing the right event, or you're not, I don't know, maybe you should be thinking about how you're approaching people at that point. But I always end up making more than I spend when I throw a client appreciation event every single time. It's like a no-brainer. If I had time, I'd do it more often, but they take a lot of time too. So that's the actual cost of the event. The time leading up, I mean, there's a lot of energy output there. And I didn't do one this year, this holiday, because of our transit. We just transitioned to EXP, which was an enormous endeavor for me. Um,
We got one coming up though, right then? Don't
we
forget.
do have one coming up. We're gonna have a grand opening. We're gonna have a grand opening coming up. We haven't landed on a date yet, but it's coming up. So yeah, stay tuned, everyone. That's in my group. That's on here.
Dan, I got an idea for you for that party.
Oh yeah, what do you got?
Do you have a person that does estate planning? Do you have a relationship with an estate planner yet?
I have a couple people, but don't have like a really good relationship with
So the
one.
reason I ask is because that's a really great way to connect with people too. I know, at least for me in Southwest Florida, we have such a high number of people um, that are, 60s and up, and a lot
Yeah.
of them do not have a will in place. They don't have any sort of estate plan, nothing. So if you have a relationship, it's a really easy conversation to say, hey, so do you already have an estate planner that you're working with, and you're working with a buyer, or even if you're reaching out to your sphere in some way, and
Right.
you can ask them that, and then you can actually, just easily give them, well, hey, 70% of buyers or sellers, they're in your same booth, right? But here's someone that you can connect with. Here's why it's so important. If you want to leave things to people, if you have multiple properties, this is all stuff you should be thinking of. Otherwise, it goes to the state, and your family could lose. They might only get 30% of it at the end.
Right. And then like do like how about them co-host or something? Is that what you're thinking?
I was thinking co-host for you in this situation, and maybe even give
Right.
them 10 or 15 minutes to talk and set up appointments, because
Right.
now
Right.
you've
Yeah,
got these
that's a great
estate
idea.
planners. Because now you have these estate planners that you've built this relationship with, you're building up their business. Next thing you know, they've got lots of people that they're dealing with the death.
Yeah.
Well, now we're talking about properties that need to get listed.
Right. Not to be
Because
morbid or anything, but it's a part of our business.
everybody's going to prosper in every kind of market, right? So
Right. No
what,
doubt.
it's just one of those things. So it
Right.
could be a really lucrative way to
No, that's a good idea. I did talk to a lender that I'm really engaged with at the moment, and they were like, "We'll totally sponsor your next event."
oh,
So it was kind of like a no-brainer there. But I do need an estate planner and which goes hand in hand with like a probate attorney. Those are relationships I need to work on. I don't have them in place at the moment. But thanks, Christine. I appreciate that.
you're welcome. Great
Oh.
information. Thanks for sharing, Dan.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's like these are like getting back to basics to me, like when I go through this. And it's important because as I was creating it and writing it, I've been up since like 4:30 in the morning. But it just was so much comes to mind, like, oh my gosh. And then you realize how much work you have to do. It always makes me laughs or like I find it amusing when especially new agents are like, yeah, but what am I supposed to do? I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. Like,
Right.
like so like they don't know. So this gives new agents like kind of a path forward, but it also gives more seasoned agents a way to reboot and refine themselves. I mean, the old gold we have, if you've been in this business, you know, 5, 10 years or more, there's old gold in those hills that you built a long time ago that you don't even know. Like you have to reconnect. And Ninja Selling has a great formula on how to reconnect with those people that you've been disconnected with for quite some time. So I highly recommend Ninja Selling for a lot of different reasons, but that's one of he does a great job of helping you understand that. I just had a lunch with a developer, a builder that was my mentor for many years, and I had been out of touch with him, and his wife had some health issues and things like that. But then I just reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, I've been thinking about you. Let's grab breakfast." And he like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." And we just had this great breakfast. I don't know. It was just I don't know what will come of it, but we reconnected, and now we're in touch again. So, anyway, really appreciate all of you guys and all your time. Um, again, if anybody has any questions or wants to reach out about anything, I'm around.
Thanks, Dan.
Have a good day.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for your
Have a
time,
great
Dan.
day.
Appreciate it,
Bye-bye
man.
now.